Hi, my name is Jade.
My name is Jade. I'm deaf.
And I'm going to sign.
And I'm going to sign. So
prefer to sign. So
I do prefer to sign. That's how I express myself. All right. So I graduated from Tisch School of Arts, just like you, also alumni. And I think maybe we're on the same age. I've produced films for 30 years. And I'm the first Black filmmaker in the U.S. And I'm working on paving the way for many actresses and actors and writers. And now I have a film, but understand it's not in Tribeca Film Festival. One of the 13,000 ones that were rejected. However, I'm still here. I'm here. And I'm registered as a media press. And I have a film called What Somalia Wants. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, I won the Harlem Spotlight Award. It's a character's name, Somalia. It's not the country in Africa. And we are also going to the San Francisco Black Film Festival soon, and I'll be talking about representation. Well, currently, I'd like to ask about representation. I've noticed our stories, our voices, we are quote unquote, we're an untapped market, we really are. There's so many Black actors and actresses on TV. But every time I watch a new show, I want to know where our story is, where our voices are. They're Black actresses and actors, however, where are the stories? And I'd like to build my empire and network in that way. And I'm working with ANC Network with for another project that I've been trying to get talent representation for many years. And I'm noticing there's really kind of a resistance for representation for our voices out there. And I'm sure all of you, especially in the audience, are familiar with that movie, Coda. And I personally don't relate to that experience. And I'm tired of stories being just pity parties, really. There are many layers. There are many layers in our community. And currently I'm waiting for somebody from IAG representation. They have 2 deaf white actors, and I'm waiting for them to sign me. So I'd like to ask you, the panel, what do you think is the resistance for our stories? Disability plus Black plus. We have a long list. I mean, we're ready. We have the content. We're ready. What's up? What's going on? Why? Where's the resistance from?
It's an amazing question. I don't have an amazing answer. I think I think we lack the writing. I think maybe as representatives, we're a little scared to fail. That we don't have the time that it really needs to advocate, for you. And I think we need to put more resources into it. I really do. I don't have an amazing answer. It's an amazing question.
Yeah. Then it take a shaft on us.
Yeah, it is.
On us.
You're right.
On us,
I'm
yes.
writing.
You're right.
I'm writing.
I agree with Brian, and I know actually, this whole industry is just risk adverse.
Yeah.
And that's why it's taking so long for even BIPOC stories to come out. We needed, again, I mentioned it before, but we needed a Black Panther to take off. We needed a Shang-Chi to take off for us to have this wave of shows. And I'm sorry, I was hoping Coda would be like that kind of thing to take off. But I feel like, all right, Black niche, woman niche, hearing impaired niche is like kryptonite to studio execs, especially now because they're not creative execs. They are Silicon Valley kids who are worried about Netflix stock price more than about Netflix content. And until that changes, really changes, it's gonna be an uphill battle. I'm I'm not gonna lie to you.
So first of all, I'm gonna give you the name of a production company that I want you to look up and check out.
Let's go.
They're called Joy Coalition, and it's founded by Joy Gorman-Weddles. Joy is the executive producer of 13 Reasons Why. She's executive producer of Unprisoned Hulu. So look her up and try to get in touch with her. I think that she would love to meet you. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there's been a pretty substantial backlash over the course of the last 15 to 20 years against Black stories and anything that's, or female stories, with the exception of this, not this summer, but last summer, although not everybody identified with Barbie. And there's been an increased insistence on what we oftentimes say in the industry is strong IP. That's strong IP, that's IP that can sell, you know? So you might have, and even if you look at Broadway this year, I think 4 of the 5 best new musicals are all based off of existing IP. And actually maybe 5 of the 5, because Alicia uses some of her music in Hell's Kitchen. So, you know, investors are willing to get behind that. There's also, at the same time, been, you know, there's been a concomitant further concentration of ownership and control in platforms. You alluded to this. Publicly held companies are not particularly risk-loving, right? So, back in the day, when many of our companies were not financed publicly, when there was more varied ownership, there were more risk takers and things were new. There wasn't as much data that told people what would work, what might not work. I think that people were actually willing to take a lot more risk. At the same time, also, the political situation and the amount of division in this country contributes to this as well. So each of us here do have a responsibility in terms of trying to further the ball. One of the things that I try to do is that whenever I have talent who is particularly hot and growing, I use how I'm negotiating and advocating for them in the deal-making room, thinking about everybody else who's going to come behind. So that whatever I can do, because when I have somebody that everybody in the industry wants, everybody wants to work with this person, I have extraordinary amount of leverage. So how I negotiate for that person potentially affects what other people are going to get and what they're going to see. And I'm very cognizant of that. And then when I have somebody who's maybe not as hot, I'm across the table from somebody, I say, look, you know me, you know I'm an advocate for talent. This is the baseline, this is what my expectations are. But I can't do that on my own. It takes people on the other side with whom I'm negotiating to cooperate in that and to cooperate in that. It takes all of us agents, lawyers, managers working together with the studios, with the labels, everybody. And it also takes a lot of hope and a lot of persistence. But I want to remind everybody here, and I think this is particularly important for us as a room of mostly Black people. Many of whom may have non-visible disabilities or other aspects of identity that are non-visible. We've been around for a while. We are a strong and persistent and extraordinary and kingly people. And we're here. We're here. And I think sometimes we forget that we're here. I think we sometimes forget what our parents and our grandparents, and in some cases our great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents have been through in order that any of us could have the privilege to be in conversation with each other here today. And so the tendency that I sometimes see for us to give into despair or hopelessness about whether or not we can get our art into the marketplace, we have to let that go. We have to keep focused, and I know, I'm in a special position saying this, I get that, but like I've struggled, trust me. And and I would imagine each of us, I mean, two of these guys started in a mailroom. You know, that's a struggle, yes. And in extremely white institutions in the mailroom, right? So, and yet they've risen to the role of agent. So, you know, I think that we have to keep in mind that a lot has been sacrificed for us, a lot has been gained. There is reason for us to be hopeful. We have to collaborate and work with one another. And to believe in ourselves and that our voices and our stories deserve and need to be heard and that there is a market for them.
I'm assuming we have to wrap up, so I'm just going to put a bow on this and just say that I agree with everything that's been said. Unfortunately, I am like one of 5 or 6 Black comedy touring agents across the industry, from small to large, you know, agencies globally, and that's a huge issue. That presents challenges and a burden on us that shouldn't exist. And I think that it starts to become and manifest in these ways where we can't get our stories told out there because we don't have people on the other side looking like us, representing us, and being fierce advocates for what we have to say, and also understanding our vision because they come from the backgrounds that we come from. And I think that the reason like we're all here is because we need more people like us doing what we do. We have to be those bridge makers and honestly, you know, be fierce in representing ourselves, our voices in the rooms, and at some point, hopefully share that table with somebody that looks like us, that also has different tastes and different opinions, and that's also the issue, right? Is that a lot of us represent people. I love all of my clients. They speak to certain parts of me that I very much want to advocate for, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I represent every single Black and brown person. But someone else can because it speaks to what they love. We need more diversity even within the diversity that we already have, which isn't enough in and of itself. So I just wanted to say that we all exist here in a way that is amazing, but also in a way that is very saddening. And every single day, I think we think about it and how to make it a better industry by bringing more people along to help us fight the good fight.
I know we have to end, but I bet if you were to go down the panel, you're probably one of a handful of Black agents, one of a handful of Black managers. I don't know many other Black female entertainment partners at big law firms, big law firms. There's not. All of us are minorities.
Yeah. Well, on that note, unfortunately, we have to close the panel. But hopefully, some of the panelists will stick around for additional questions. And just a round of applause for everybody. Thank you, guys.
And thank you, Jaya. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.